Unlock the hidden secrets of 2 Samuel and transform your spiritual journey. I never expected a single dream to change everything. It was one of those nights where the air felt thick, almost electric, as if the universe was whispering secret codes in a language I barely understood. I tossed and turned, lost in a labyrinth of shadows and echoes. The weight of my doubts pressed heavily on my chest. What was I doing with my life? Did I have a purpose, or was I just wandering through the haze? In that dream, I stood before a vast, swirling darkness. There, amidst the chaos, a brilliant light flickered, beckoning me closer. I reached out, drawn by its allure. My heart raced. I felt a pulsy rhythm echoing in my bones, like a drum resounding through an empty canyon. The light spoke without words, flooding my mind with visions of ancient kings, battles fought, and destinies entwined. It was as if 2 Samuel had come alive, revealing layers of meaning I had never seen before. Awakening with a jolt, the world felt different. I gazed out my window, where the dawn broke with a soft glow, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson. My heart swelled with a strange new energy. What signs was I missing? Were the leaves rustling in the wind delivering messages? A sparrow landed on my windowsill, chirping a song that resonated with my soul. But doubts clawed at me. Why was I chosen for this? My hands trembled as I sipped my coffee, seeking solace in its warmth, but the questions loomed. Would I follow the call? Would I have the courage to uncover what was hidden? The air crackled with an unanswered tension, a tug-of-war between clarity and confusion. The clock ticked loudly in the silence, each second laced with urgency. I felt eyes upon me, unseen witnesses to my journey. They seemed to whisper, "Don't turn away." I closed my eyes, diving deeper into my own consciousness, my breaths echoing like waves crashing against rocks. Each breath washed over me, yet the wave didn't bring clarity, it brought even more questions. As the sun rose higher, illuminating my room, I decided. I couldn't ignore this feeling. Was the universe reaching out, urging me to embrace the mysteries I had yet to uncover? Would I dare to unlock those hidden secrets, no matter where they led? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Stepping out into the morning light, a sudden wind swept through the trees, rustling leaves as if nature itself exhaled deeply, releasing tension that mirrored my own. I felt a gentle push, compelling me to walk further into the park, my sanctuary. With each step, the world transformed into a living tapestry, the scent of damp earth, the rhythmic rustle of grass, and the far-off laughter of children weaving together into a symphony of life's pulse. As I wandered deeper into the thicket, a change in the ambience caught my attention. The air thickened with a palpable energy, drawing my eyes to a group of stones arranged in a perfect circle, nestled under an ancient oak whose gnarled branches seemed to hold secrets from centuries past. Intuition whispered that this was no ordinary spot. Kneeling, I traced the contours of the stones, their rough textures cool under my fingertips, and as I did, memories flickered and surged like fireflies in my mind. Battles fought, friendships forged, and faith tested. I closed my eyes, letting the presence of the stones wash over me. Suddenly, a vision unfolded. Figures clad in ancient garb gathered in solemn communion, sharing words that felt both foreign and familiar. It was as if I were watching a pivotal moment replaying itself. A king, noble yet burdened, sought guidance from his council, their faces washed with urgency. In the heart of the gathering, a thin man with piercing eyes reached out, speaking in whispers that echoed through the ages. What shall we do when our faith falters? When the path is shrouded in shadows, the vision shifted, spiraling into a vivid memory from my own life, a loss I hadn't fully confronted. Faces of loved ones swam before me, their presence both a comfort and a heartache, and I realized how this unresolved grief had woven itself into the fabric of my spiritual journey. The stone circle pulsed with a warm vibrance, and I felt a calling to confront this shadow, this inner battle. Just then, a low, melodic voice broke through my reverie. "Do you seek the truth?" A woman emerged from the thickets, draped in a flowing shawl, her age indiscernible. Her eyes sparkled with an ancient wisdom, flickering like the very light from my dream. "You find yourself at a crossroads, drawn by an illumination that requires more than understanding. It requires courage." Startled yet intrigued, I nodded, my spirit ignited with curiosity. "How do I find the courage to face what lies hidden?" "The answer lies in embracing vulnerability," she replied, her gaze piercing through the fog of my hesitation. "Like the ancient kings, you must gather your counsel, confront your shadows, and learn to listen to the whispers of your heart, to the rustling of leaves, to the song of the sparrow. Each sign is a thread in the tapestry of your destiny." With those words echoing in my mind, I felt a shift within. It was as though the barriers holding me back began to crumble, exposing the raw, unpolished parts of myself. Where there had been fear, now flickered the ember of resolve. I knew I must face my uncertainties, but a more profound question lingered: was courage merely the absence of fear, or was it the act of moving forward despite it? As she turned to depart, the woman paused and said, "Tread carefully, for each revelation leads to further questions. Within every answer lies a new mystery waiting to unfold." Her figure faded into the shadows of the trees, leaving me with the weight of her words pressing upon my heart. That I sat in silence for a long while, pondering this truth. Was every step I took a loop in my journey, leading me back to questions that pointed even deeper into the essence of my being? The sun climbed higher, illuminating all teeming life around me. And though clarity escaped me, I felt an unquenchable curiosity bubbling within, a yearning to uncover what I had yet to discover. As I stood to leave the stone circle, I glanced back, sensing the lingering energy resonating in the air. The journey was far from over. In fact, it felt just as it was about to begin. What truths lay hidden beneath layers of fear and doubt? With each step forward, I embraced the uncertainty and the realization that the path had twists yet unforeseen, all waiting to illuminate the next chapter of my soul's expedition. In the days that followed my encounter in the park, I felt a restlessness stirring within me. The woman's words echoed, a haunting resonance that begged for deeper exploration. Embracing my vulnerability, I slowly began to peel back the layers of my past, seeking out the roots of my fears and the lessons buried within them. Each day, I ventured into the park, drawn back to the stone circle, the epicenter of my newfound awakening point. One afternoon, the air shimmered with the warmth of a fading sun, drawing me toward a hidden path at the far end of the park. The dense underbrush seemed inviting, almost like a portal to another realm. Following the trail, I stumbled upon a small clearing, bathed in dappled sunlight. At the center stood an ancient well, stones crumbling around its edge, an echo of history cradled by time. Compelled by an unseen force, I approached it, the moss-covered stones a reminder of the weight of years gone by. As I peered into the darkness of its depths, I felt an emerging sense of introspection, as if the well itself held secrets waiting to be revealed. I tossed a small pebble into its abyss, watching it vanish into the shadows below. With it, I offered a silent prayer for clarity and for guidance on this uncertain path. In that moment, a soft, wistful laugh broke the stillness. Turning, I found a man sitting against a nearby tree, sketching intently. His wild hair danced in the breeze, framing a face that held kindness and mischief in equal measure. "It's said that wells contain the answers to our deepest questions," he remarked, eyes sparkling with amusement. "But only if you're willing to dive into the depths of your own heart." Intrigued, I took a seat across from him, our souls inexplicably connected. "What do you mean by that?" I asked, my curiosity piquing even further. "Most people come here seeking the extraordinary, but the greatest revelations often lie in the ordinary," he replied. "Look closely at your fears and joys. They are but two sides of the same coin, reflecting your truest self. Each line, each stroke you create on this canvas of life, is a testament to what you've experienced. Your heart, much like this well, can be both a vessel of wisdom and a source of darkness. Embrace all of it. With each word, a flicker of recognition stirred within me. He continued to sketch, deftly weaving forms that danced with movement and emotion. What you face doesn't define you. It's how you choose to respond that shapes the essence of who you are. As the sun dipped lower, casting elongated shadows across the clearing, I felt compelled to share my grief, the loss that had held me captive for so long. I spoke of love that slipped through my fingers, dreams that faded, and doors that closed without warning. His gaze remained unwavering, filled with empathy and understanding. There's a beauty in your vulnerability, he said, lifting his gaze from the page. When you allow grief to surface and intertwine with your story, it becomes a brushstroke in the artistic masterpiece that is your soul. You don't have to bury it to move forward, rather, you can let it guide you, showing you where you still need to heal. The conversation continued to flow effortlessly, each moment unfurling like petals in the morning light. Yet a deeper enlightenment stirred beneath my conscious thoughts, an underlying question yet unaddressed. How could I truly transform this grief into a source of strength? As the last rays of sunlight faded behind the trees, he offered a parting gesture. Remember, every moment of connection serves the greater journey. When you step into the unknown with honesty, you pave the way for clarity to emerge. With that profound reminder, he packed away his sketchpad and vanished into the twilight, leaving me cocooned in my thoughts. As I made my way back toward the park exit, the world around me shivered with a sense of possibility. The beauty of this journey lay not just in the encounters but in the emerging tapestry of wisdom woven through them. I pondered, how would I honor the lessons learned? And could I recognize the transformative power hidden within my grief? As I continued my quest for truth, the whispers of the wind in the trees served as profound reminders, leading me ever forward. What further mysteries awaited me along this path, and how could I embrace them? Each step was a call to adventure, an invitation to unveil the layers of my inner world. Ready or not. As the days grew shorter and night crept in with a gentle embrace, I found myself frequently retreating to that sacred clearing with the old well. The man with the wild hair had ignited a flame within me, one that beckoned me to explore not only the shadows of my grief but also the shimmering potentials of my spirit. Each visit to the park became a pilgrimage of sorts, and I approached the ancient well with a renewed sense of purpose, prepared to gather insights like the fallen leaves swirling around me. A tapestry of whispers and wonders. One afternoon, the air was crisp, carrying with it the faint scent of earth and rain. As I drew closer, I noticed the sunlight streaming through the branches had shifted, casting a peculiar pattern on the ground reminiscent of a maze. I hesitated for a moment, a sense of both trepidation and exhilaration coursing through me. Beneath the twisted limbs, I saw something peculiar, an object half buried beneath fallen leaves and moss. Curiosity overcame caution, and I leaned down to uncover it, revealing an ornate key, rusted but gleaming with history. Holding it in my palm, I felt a rush of connection to something far greater than myself. Questions swirled. What door would this key unlock? What secrets lay hidden, waiting for discovery? I turned back toward the well, its depths now appearing like an abyss filled with potential rather than fear. Perhaps this key was a metaphor for my journey, a tool for unlocking the deeper layers of my own existence. My heart raced at the thought of adventure, the kind that stretched beyond the tangible world and merged with the mystical. As I contemplated its significance, I heard a rustling from among the trees. I looked up to see a figure emerging from the dense brush, a young girl, dressed in a flowing white dress adorned with colorful wildflowers. Hello. She called, her voice like a melody that danced on the breeze. Her eyes sparkled with an innocence that only a child possesses, and they seemed to pierce into the very fabric of my soul. What's that you've got there? I held out the key, intrigued by her curiosity. I found this near the well. Do you know what it might open? The little girl approached, her laughter light and effervescent. Keys are special. They can open doors to places we've never seen. But only if we dare to use them. She knelt by the well, gazing deep into its darkness. Sometimes, the most exciting discoveries aren't about unlocking doors, but about comprehending what lies within us. Her words resonated, reminding me of my recent conversations with the man and the wisdom I was gradually uncovering. Entranced, I listened as she continued, "You know, I once found a key too, but I was afraid to use it. It sat in my pocket for many moons until one day I realized the door I needed to unlock was not of wood or metal, but of my own heart." The thought lingered. The key was not merely a tool for the physical world but rather a symbol of transformation, urging me to confront the barriers I had erected. Despite the girl's tender age, her insight struck me with unexpected potency. What if I'm not ready to face what's inside? I confessed, my voice barely above a whisper. She looked at me, the weight of her gaze merging with the wisdom of countless lifetimes. Feeling unready is part of the journey. It's okay not to know everything in advance. What's important is that you keep asking the questions. That's how you grow. Like flowers reaching for sunlight, that I felt a warmth spread through me, as if her words were the sunshine awakening the dormant seeds buried deep within my spirit. Encouraged by her guidance, I contemplated the road ahead. What might it reveal if I embraced the uncertainty and ventured farther into the unknown, key in hand? As I took a deep breath, preparing to respond, the girl helped me to my feet and began to dance gracefully amidst the falling leaves. "See!" she exclaimed, spinning in circles. "Every step is a dance, a blending of fear and joy. You have to embrace both if you want to find your rhythm. When you uncover your true self, you'll become alive, soon." She twirled away, her laughter fading into the wind as she disappeared into the whispering woods, leaving a trail of wildflowers in her wake. The key remained clutched in my hand, a tangible reminder of choices yet to be made and the discoveries yet to come. As twilight descended, casting the world into shades of indigo and silver, I stood before the well once more. I was filled with a deepening hunger for revelation, a longing to explore both my heart's intricacies and the paths faded into shadows. What doors awaited my unlocking? What treasures would I discover if I took the leap into my own depths? And more importantly, could I reveal the beauty hidden within both my fears and my joys? With renewed vigor, I contemplated my next steps, steps that would not only lead me to the well's edge but would also journey deeper within, where true transformation lay silently waiting. As the last rays of sunlight slipped below the horizon, the well seemed to hum with secrets aching to be told. Feeling both anticipation and uncertainty intertwine within me, I approached its edge, peering into the abyss that held the promise of discovery. The key, warm in my hand, felt not just physical but representative of something deeper, a bridge between the world I knew and the mysteries lurking in the shadows of my heart. With a steadying breath, I whispered a silent prayer, wishing for guidance and clarity. Just as I closed my eyes, a voice, soft yet powerful, fluttered through the air, a gentle breeze that rustled the leaves and wrapped around me like a warm embrace. "You seek the truth, but truth often lies beneath layers of understanding." The voice was ethereal, echoing with the wisdom of the universe. That I opened my eyes to find an elderly woman, her hair silver and flowing like a river. She stood nearby, her posture regal despite her age. "I am the keeper of secrets," she said, a knowing smile dancing on her lips. "What you hold is important, yet it is what you choose to unlock that will shape your journey." "What do you mean?" I asked, my heart racing with possibilities, the key feeling heavier in my palm. "The key does not merely open doors, it unveils pathways within your soul. Each door leads to a facet of yourself, the able and the unable, the joyful and the sorrowful." Her eyes sparkled with a depth that left me longing to know more. "To transform, you must confront not just what you wish to create, but what you wish to release." Her words ignited reflections of the grief I had been carrying, a burden imprinted in my essence. Had I been focusing solely on unlocking aspects of light within me, ignoring the shadows that held equal power? My spirit was weary from attempting to evade pain, yet something within me craved authenticity, the desire to embrace all aspects of life. Is it truly possible to unveil hidden truths without surrendering to vulnerability? I ventured, apprehensive. "Indeed, dear one," she said, gesturing toward the well. "What lies before you is not simply a reflection of the darkness but a mirror of the light you birth from it. The wells of sadness lend meaning to joy, just as night gives way to the dawn. You must anchor yourself in love, even amongst turmoil. With this soft guidance, I felt an urge to lean closer to the edge of the well. As I did, an image flickered in the depths, glistening shadows intertwined with glowing figures dancing joyously amidst vibrant colors. In those fleeting moments, I sensed the layers of my sorrow, intertwined with sparkles of laughter and echoes of missed opportunities. It was a chaotic symphony of emotions that suddenly felt achingly familiar. Drawing back, I turned to the Keeper of Secrets, my eyes wide with awakening. How do I unlock those doors without fear, when the fabric of my heart is still frayed? By accepting your fear as part of your growth, she replied patiently. Fears are less formidable when you hold them beside your courage. Begin by asking questions that invite deeper understanding. What do you fear? What compelled you to hide? Unravel the stories woven into your wounds. Her words settled within me, stirring thoughts like flurries caught in a winter wind. Each unanswered question served as a thread, interweaving my experiences, binding the lessons of my journey and illuminating how vulnerability could lead to profound transformation. But, in that illumination lay the dwelling of another shadow, a daunting question yet to be explored. As dusk deepened around us, I found myself wrestling with the gravity of what she imparted. What would it mean for me to confront my fears? What joys could I unearth? Or, am I brave enough to face those layers yet? The Keeper smiled, her figure shimmering in the low light. Only you hold the key to those answers. Remember, inward journeys often yield the most powerful revelations, roads both untraveled and familiar. Allow them to unfold naturally, and you will find your answers in the rhythm of your heart. As she spoke, a sense of calm washed over me, mingling with the currents of curiosity and contemplation. I realized that this journey was not solely about unlocking doors but about courageously facing what resided behind them. As the stars began to twinkle in the advancing twilight, I once more grasped the key tightly, committing to face the layers within me, one question at a time. What fear must I first confront to experience liberation? What truths lie dormant, and how would I find the courage to explore them? Could embracing vulnerability lead me to ultimately transform both my joy and my suffering? With the well before me, I knew the journey was far from over. Each step would illuminate another facet of my spirit, and maybe, just maybe, I would find the answers that danced just beyond my grasp. As the stars brightened in the sky, I contemplated the gentle wisdom offered by the Keeper of Secrets. The chill of the approaching night wrapped around me like a soft blanket, but my heart pulsed with an energy that kept the darkness at bay. Stepping back from the edge of the well, I took a moment to breathe deeply, absorbing the night's cool serenity, my fears mingling with a lingering sense of hope. In that quietude, a single thought emerged: perhaps it was time to unravel the first thread of fear. What lay beneath the surface of my heart, spiraled tightly like a coiled spring, waiting for the right moment to be released. I recalled the stories of those who had walked before me, individuals who, despite overwhelming odds, had ventured into the unknown. Each had emerged with scars elegantly woven into their tapestry of wisdom, each imperfection speaking of resilience and authenticity. With newfound determination, I turned to the well once more, its depths unknowable and alluring. If I dare to ask, I whispered, what do I fear most deeply? The air thickened around me as if the universe was holding its breath. In the silence that followed, my mind began to flood with flashes of memories, times when I had silenced my own voice, moments I chose comfort over authenticity, and times when vulnerability had felt like a burden rather than a path to connection. The Keeper's presence lingered, a palpable warmth reassuring me that I was not alone in this quest. Fear, she had said, is a part of growth. But what if my fear of inadequacy was shackling me to a life of silence? I pondered the questions I had once tucked away, convinced that they were impermissible distractions, when in truth, they were the very keys to my liberation. Suddenly, the scene within the well shifted again, colors swirling and coalescing into faces those dearest to me, looking back with understanding and acceptance. Perhaps I feared not just judgment, but rejection. The burden of not being enough weighed infinitely heavier than the pain of simply showing up as my true self. With each realization, the air around me felt charged, as if the well was vibrating in tandem with my own recognition. I grasped the key tightly, its warmth pulsating against my skin, and willed myself to be brave. Could authenticity be the antidote to my fears? Might sharing my truest self bear the weight of isolation and ultimately illuminate a path to connection? It was then that I noticed something subtly woven into the patterns above the well. The essence of light seemed to shimmer around what appeared to be an inscription etched upon its surface, barely noticeable yet undeniable. As I stepped closer, the words began to come into focus, glowing like constellations against the stone. In vulnerability lies the strength of connection, and in connection, the promise of understanding. That I shivered at the truth of those words, realizing that I still had much to untangle within myself. The mystery surrounding vulnerability lay hidden beneath layers of shame and fear, waiting to be explored. I glanced up at the vast tapestry of stars above me, a dazzling reminder that I was both small and significant in this vast universe. What questions remained unasked? What fears awaited resolution? Could I truly embrace openness in a world that often taught us to guard our hearts? With a resolve thundering within me, I understood that unraveling my fears would lead not just to personal freedom but to the possibility of enriching the lives of those I loved, strengthening my connections with each truth shared. As twilight deepened and shadows stretched toward the horizon, I felt the weight of uncertainty shift ever so slightly. I did not know the answers yet, but the path ahead beckoned with the promise of discovery. My heart swelled with questions that felt both daunting and exhilarating. If I faced these fears, would they dissipate like morning mist? Would the honesty of my voice resonate with others, creating ripples of understanding and healing? As I finally took a confident step back, away from the well and its secrets, a single reflection settled within me, a tentative yet powerful commitment to traverse this uncharted territory with grace. I was reminded that every unfolding story, every layer embraced, was a step toward illuminating not only my own path but the interconnected journeys of others who dared to walk alongside me. And thus, armed with the key to my fears, I began to ponder, what does true vulnerability look like, and how far am I willing to journey to discover it? As the last remnants of twilight surrendered to the encroaching night, I felt an undeniable pull to venture further into the depths of the forest that surrounded me. The chill in the air was invigorating, and beneath my feet, each step towards the unknown felt purposeful and alive. I cradled the key against my heart, its warmth a constant reminder of the truths I had begun to uncover. Yet, amidst this stirring of courage, I sensed the echo of something lingering just beyond my grasp, a question waiting to manifest, a lesson waiting to unfold. As I moved deeper into the thicket, luminous mushrooms dotted the ground like stars that had fallen from the heavens. Their soft glow illuminated a narrow path, beckoning me to tread carefully but confidently into the embrace of the seemingly hidden world. The wind whispered ancient secrets among the leaves, guiding my thoughts toward the mysteries I had yet to untangle. What signs awaited me further along this journey? The forest thickened, a cocoon of verdant shadows and gilded moonlight, as I stumbled across a clearing crowned by a magnificent oak tree. Its gnarled branches stretched outward, a canvas that displayed the universe's artistry. Feeling drawn to it, I approached, running my fingers along the rough bark, tracing the deep grooves that spoke of countless seasons past. Here, I sensed a kindred spirit, a guardian of wisdom, perhaps, with stories etched into its very essence. As I settled beneath its sprawling canopy, I allowed my thoughts to spiral inward, contemplating the lessons I had grasped so far. The oak stood resolute, a testament to resilience. What does it mean to endure? I mused aloud, my voice barely more than a whisper against the gentle rustling leaves. The tree seemed to respond, its branches swaying intricately, embodying the very essence of strength and vulnerability coexisting. And then, with the wind as my witness, I felt a presence. It was not physical, but a brook of awareness flowing through the space around me, inviting me to listen more deeply. The whispers of the forest encircled me. I closed my eyes, inhaling the sweet scent of earth and listening intently. What emerged were faces both familiar and strange flashing before my mind's eye. Each image was a testament to connections I had forged, and also those I had let slip away. The smiles of friends, the disappointment of estrangement, the laughter of shared joy, and the weight of misunderstandings all danced before my closed lids like reflections cast upon still water. Then, a sudden wave of clarity washed over me. Was it not always the stories that woven through vulnerability that had shaped my relationships? Were the moments of connection not grounded in authenticity, in the shared fears that knitted hearts together, despite their frayed edges? Questions rippled through me, expanding and intensifying. What connections had I longed for yet neglected to nurture? Which fears had stunted my ability to reach out? My pulse quickened as the answers danced just out of reach. There was a dance between my heart and the unknown that compelled me to dig deeper. Suddenly, I felt a sense of urgency to engage with this precious moment rather than let it fade into the shadows of my mind. I opened my eyes and gazed up at the branches of the oak, illuminated by the silver glow of the moon. "Dearest tree, what wisdom lies buried in your roots?" I asked, feeling both a fool and a seeker in that moment, and it happened. A rustling sound, reminiscent of laughter, echoed through the clearing. The tree's branches shifted and swayed, tender yet assertive, embodying a response as if to say that wisdom comes not from mere words, but through the act of seeking, the courage to engage, and the willingness to remain open amidst uncertainty. As I reflected on this, the intensity of the questions remained, each one a deep well, waiting to be plumbed. Could I learn to embrace discomfort for the sake of authenticity? What if my expression could resonate with others on a level beyond superficial interactions? Was I ready to forge deeper connections? Even if it meant navigating the waters of fear, I fell silent beneath the mighty oak, contemplating the uncharted territory before me. The keeper of secrets had illuminated the path to vulnerability, but now it was time to discover how embracing this vulnerability could kindle connections rich with understanding. Would I find strength in this openness? With each breath, I felt the pull of transformation, a deeper initiation into the mystery of connection. The gentle rustle of leaves transformed into a mantra, echoing in my spirit, guiding me onward. In the depths of uncertainty lies the bloom of authenticity. Seek, share, and heal. As the night deepened, so did my resolve, yet unanswered questions lingered like the stars above, glimmering in perfect alignment. What weight does our vulnerability carry, and when embraced, can it heal not only ourselves but those who walk alongside us on this journey of life? I lingered beneath the oak, the whispered lessons imprinted in my heart, as the night folded in on itself, deepening the sensations swirling within me. Each heartbeat reverberated with the understanding that vulnerability was not merely a concept, but a living, breathing entity that thrived in the interconnectedness of our shared experiences. Yet, as I sat in this sanctuary of enlightenment, a gnawing uncertainty nagged at me like a forgotten melody yearning to be played. The wind rustled the leaves overhead, interweaving with a sudden chill that compelled me to rise. I felt the forest pulse with life, each heartbeat of nature urging me forward. A flicker of movement caught my eye within the dense foliage, just beyond the clearing. Drawn by an unquenchable curiosity, my feet carried me cautiously toward the source. With each step, the atmosphere thickened, vibrating with an almost electric energy. A soft light began to emerge ahead, warm and inviting, breaking through the shadows like liquid gold. As I approached, I discovered a gathering of creatures, illuminated by the ethereal glow of luminescent fireflies. They flitted and danced in harmony, a breathtaking display of unity and joy that transcended the language of words. Among them, a figure emerged, cloaked in gossamer fabric, shimmering in sync with the flickering lights. The figure caught my breath, its eyes reflected the depth of knowledge, as though they held galaxies of experience within. The gentle being gestured for me to join, and without hesitation, I stepped toward the gathering, intrigued by the promise of understanding nestled in the heart of this enchantment. "Welcome, seeker of truths," the figure intoned, the voice gliding on the air like the whisper of a familiar song. "This space is created for us to reflect and illuminate that which remains hidden in the crevices of your heart. Yet, to unlock the door of your spirit, you must first confront its shadows." I felt a shiver run through me, for the shadows had always been an uncomfortable companion. Self-doubt, unfinished conversations, fears that inhibited my expression. Would I be bold enough to engage with them? Why must I confront the shadows? I asked, the weight of my inquiry hanging thick in the air. The creatures paused their dance, as if the very forest awaited a revelation. "It is in confrontation that you will find liberation," the mysterious figure replied, exuding an understanding that resonated deeply within my spirit. "Each shadow holds a truth veiled in fear, each fear conceals a desire unexpressed. To embrace one is to unveil the other, and therein lies your strength." The fireflies resumed their dance, flares of light intertwining with my thoughts, illuminating snippets of my life that I had intentionally buried deep. Faces of old friends, moments of laughter, untold apologies, each shimmering truth presenting itself like fragments of a puzzle waiting to be assembled. "Seek the light within these shadows," the figure encouraged, extending a hand that radiated warmth. "Know that through your exploration, you will not only discover the essence of your own soul, but you may also become a beacon for others lost in their darkness." That I hesitated, wrestling with the desire to shield myself from the unknown, the comfort of restraint versus the call of authenticity. The silence wrapped around us, echoing a gentle reminder that I was at a crossroads, the embrace of the forest urging me forward while the shadows danced with temptation to retreat. In that pivotal moment, clarity surged through me. I began to understand that embracing both light and shadow could lead me to a fuller experience of myself. It was an integration of fractured pieces into a mosaic of wholeness. Resolutely, I extended my hand toward the figure, inviting in the exploration that lay ahead. "What then awaits me when I face these truths?" I asked, heart racing with anticipation. The figure smiled knowingly, as if the answer resided not in a singular response but in the unfolding journey itself. "You will learn that openness breeds connection, that healing unfolds in the shared experiences that bind us, and that your vulnerability will resonate with the hearts of those who dare to listen." As the words settled within me, I felt an ember of empowerment ignite. The dance of fireflies surged in rhythm with my heart, urging me to step forward. This journey was not to reach an ending, but to blossom into new beginnings, weaving authenticity into my interactions, sorrows into wisdom, and connection into community. Stepping back from the gathering, I took a deep breath, the sense of the forest mingling with the promise of transformation. It was time for my spirit to embrace the shadows, to uncover the truths lurking beneath, to seek illumination amidst darkness. The figure and the gathering began to fade, the fireflies rising higher into the night sky, scattering bright flickers toward the cosmos. Remember, seeker, that within every shadow lies the potential for light. May your journey be filled with discovery and connection. As I returned to the oak tree, its steadfast presence became my anchor. The silvery moonlight filtered through the leaves, washing over me like a balm. I crouched beside the roots, contemplating the lessons that lay before me, yet the question hung like a star above, twinkling with intrigue: what truths must I uncover within the shadows, and how will they mold the connections I forge with others on this path of authenticity? As dawn began to unfurl its tender light across the canvas of the sky, the world around me felt different, infused with the echoes of last night's insights. I rose from my contemplative pose, the roots of the oak grounding me, reminding me that I was tethered not only to the earth but to the myriad connections that stretched beyond my understanding. The forest was alive, the songs of birds punctuating the silence, creating a symphony that promised both guidance and exploration. With each step away from the oak, I sensed a pull towards a path less traveled, an unmarked trail veiled in an embrace of dappled sunlight and shadows. My heart swelled with anticipation and trepidation alike, for I understood that this road beckoned further encounters with the unknown and, perhaps, deeper reflections on the shadows I had yet to confront. The air thickened with a fragrant complexity as I ventured down the path, the fragrance of wildflowers mingling with the earthy scent of damp leaves. Here, the whispers of the wind seemed to carry stories of transformation, each rustle an invitation acknowledging the duality of existence, creation and decay, playing a dance that was as old as time itself. Before long, I encountered a small clearing under a cluster of ancient birch trees. Their white bark shimmered like the skin of a wise elder, and beneath their gnarled branches sat an elderly woman. Her hair, silver as the first frost, framed her face like a halo, her eyes sparkling with the depth of secrets, like twin orbs containing galaxies' worth of wisdom. She sat with an assortment of stones arranged before her, each one gleaming in the soft light. "Welcome, traveler," she greeted me with warmth that radiated from her very being. "I was expecting you. Come, sit beside me. Here, we will speak of the stones, for they hold the whispers of your heart's journey." Curiosity overwhelmed me, and I joined her on the earth, entranced by the array of colored stones, some dull, others vibrant, each possessing its own distinct energy. "How do these stones speak of my journey?" I asked, kneeling closer to observe their unique hues and textures. "Every stone," she began, reflects a facet of your experience, each one a lesson you must learn from the shadows you dance around. She held up a jet-black stone, its surface glossy and deep. This is a piece of obsidian, a stone of truth. It embodies the power of introspection. Have you looked within to unearth what lies in your depths? She directed her gaze to the deeper recesses of my heart, and I felt exposed, confronted by the shadows I had only begun to explore. What do I fear? I pondered aloud, the weight of my contemplation hovering palpably between us. Fear is the catalyst for transformation if you allow it to be, she replied, her voice a whispering breeze. Listeners often hear only the stories of the sun, they forget that the moon offers its own wisdom, hidden in its shadows. That I lifted my gaze to the vast expanse of sky, the sun rising steadily, casting shadows that elongated on the ground around us. But how can I embrace the shadows? I pressed. What if in doing so, I lose myself? Ah, she smiled knowingly, you cannot lose what is already yours. Each shadow you confront reveals layers of your essence, revealing what lies beneath your fears. In facing these uncertainties, you discover the potential for a deeper connection with both self and others. With a deliberate motion, she laid a vibrant, fiery red stone next to the obsidian. This is garnet, the stone of passion. It ignites the desires we often bury. What desires have you overlooked? What parts of your spirit remain unseen because of fear? My breath caught as memories rushed in like the tide, dreams deferred, passions neglected, words unspoken. Each memory resonated with a truth that burdened me, tethering my heart to an untold story. Could it be that these shadows were not merely remnants of regret, but pathways toward newfound strength? Embracing the shadows allows one to be vulnerable and genuine, she continued. And through that vulnerability, exquisite connections flourish. What connections do you yearn to forge through this understanding? As I pondered her question, I recognized faces that flickered in my memory, friends I had grown distant from, moments of joy that had faded in the backdrop of life's clamor, connections left hanging tenderly in the air between us. I want to share my truth, I confessed, the desire burning fiercely within. The woman nodded gently, picking up a smooth, translucent stone and holding it in her palm. This is quartz, a stone of clarity. When you clear your path of persistent doubt and fear, you will see how vibrant the connections can be. The shadows do not define you, they shape you, just as the crystals form in the depths of the earth. I reached out, fingers brushing against the stones, contemplating their vibrant energies. So, the shadows and the light are woven together, I mused aloud, feeling the realization seep deeply into my understanding. Indeed, dear traveler, she affirmed, her voice like a gentle stream. To know one is to recognize the truth of the other. Embrace them both, for within them lies the essence of your being and the potential for profound connection. As I sat in silence, contemplating the integration of my own shadows and lights, I recognized an expansive horizon of possibility stretching before me. Yet, even amidst this clarity, a new question danced just beyond my reach, an unanswered note lingering like an unfinished melody. What must I face within the darkness of my past to truly illuminate my path and foster authentic connections with those who walk beside me? The sun rose gently, casting long shadows that entwined with the paths I traversed in my heart. Each step away from the clearing with the wise woman felt heavy with the resonance of her words. The wisdom of the stones echoed within me, calling me to embark on a journey of authenticity. In the days that followed, as I walked through the park and returned to the stone circle, I felt a blend of both excitement and fear, the thrill of exploration mingling with the weight of uncharted territories looming just beyond my grasp. I began to reflect on my past encounters, each lesson a piece, each shadow a vital component in constructing the vibrant tapestry of my soul. I had entered this journey seeking wisdom, but soon realized it was much deeper. It was about connection, understanding, and embracing every part of my existence, even the parts shrouded in doubt. One day, as I sat cross-legged on the cool grass, my fingers gripping the key still warmed by my dreams, a realization struck me. Shadows I feared had become the barriers separating me from authenticity, from connection with others who may echo my own hidden truths. I began to grasp the beauty intertwined within vulnerability. It was not a weakness, but a courageous act of revealing my whole self to the world, inviting others to do the same. The world around me transformed into a dance of whispers, each rustle of leaves, each note from a distant bird, beckoned me to unravel the depths of my heart and share my light while accepting my shadow. I could no longer stay hidden within those walls of discomfort and shame. It was time to embrace my full essence. As the evening approached, I gathered my resolve and made my way to the old well at the heart of the park. The moon hovered above, a sentinel of the night, casting a soft glow that illuminated its ancient stones. Standing before the well, I found myself suspended in a moment of grace. In that quiet intimacy, I whispered my fears aloud for the first time and released them into the stillness surrounding me. What if I am not enough? What if they do not understand? What if I am alone in my struggle? The well absorbed my anxieties, transforming them into echoes of possibility. With open arms, I surrendered them to the depths, alongside my whispered prayers for connection, understanding, and the courage to be seen. Then, a gentle voice, familiar yet extraordinary, resonated within the silence. "You're not alone, seeker. You never were." Turning, I was met by the luminous figure of the Keeper of Secrets, her presence radiant with a knowing smile. "To confront your shadows is to embrace the human experience in all its forms," she continued. "In your vulnerability lies a gateway not only to your own truth but also to the hearts of others." I felt tears prickle at the corners of my eyes, tears of release and recognition. Embracing my fears did not signify weakness, it signified a commitment to an uphill journey, a journey I would not undertake alone. As I looked into her eyes, I understood that we are all part of a greater web, our stories intertwined through the shared fabric of struggle and triumph. "Will you join me?" I asked, hopeful that she would walk with me in my pursuit of authentic connections. "Always," she smiled, and with those words, an electric pulse of understanding surged through me. I realized that every time I revealed a fragment of my true self, I invited others into my light. In that illumination, they might find their own truths reflected within me. It was as if the very air vibrated with potential, and under the starlit sky, I sensed that it was time to open my heart to those I had kept at bay, the friends whose laughter I missed, those I had undervalued. I wanted to honor their presence and acknowledge my shadows, inviting them to share their own. Fashioning the images of those I longed to reconnect with in my mind, I whispered their names into the well, each name a promise of understanding, healing, and renewed connection. The brightness of the stars mirrored my resolve. Perhaps my vulnerable truth could illuminate the path for others to do the same. The Keeper watched with profound affection, her smile deepening with warmth and light. "Remember, seeker, when you share your story, you become a lantern in the darkness, a beacon of hope for others who fear they are alone." And with that familiar whisper of the wind covering me like a cocoon, I felt a profound transformation within, a gentle forgiveness of myself for any past hesitations. My heart began to soar, buoyed by the delight of connection. This was not the end but rather a beginning, a journey toward a more authentic, shared existence. As I turned to leave, the moonlight cast a luminous path before me, a reminder that vulnerability had become my compass. Each step forward filled me with purpose and light. I was ready. Ready to forge deeper connections, to embrace the intersecting stories of those around me, to create a rich tapestry of understanding and healing. In that sacred moment, as the Keeper faded into the whispers of the night, I understood with crystalline clarity that true transformation bloomed within the interconnectedness of our lives. And so, with the knowledge that my truth could light the way for others, I stepped forward into the night, my heart resonating with the hum of universality, the truth that we are never alone. In sharing, we heal. The shadows became pathways of light as I found peace in knowing that through the messiness of vulnerability, my soul might connect with countless others in a symphony of shared experience. In the arms of authenticity lies the dance of connection, and in connection, the heartbeat of humanity flourishes.